for Tess and Johan, what has the process of getting up to speed been like for them?
Yeah, I mean, they all were a little bit different. Johan got here and was able to participate a little bit. I don't remember exactly how many practices, he was able to participate in, but certainly a good number, for him to get out there on the court with the guys and with the coaches and obviously in the weight room, with Coach Curtis. Martin, was suffering through the injury and all that, so he really wasn't himself, and we kind of had to hold him out, for most of the summer, and so he wasn't able to get that many practices in. Tess didn't get any, and so it's been really good to have all of them, out there so far this fall, to be able to be out there on the court, just to get comfortable with their teammates and comfortable with the coaches and just the surroundings, and I think they've all done really, really well.
You've been through this process now, the last 2 stops of kind of rebooting and getting everything set. What have you learned in terms of maybe what you expect your team to be versus what you find out it is when you get them on the floor? What have been some of the lessons you've taken?
Yeah, I mean, I think each stop's been a little bit different. I think you think about Utah State, we had a core group of guys that were back, right, and that understood Utah State. They understood the expectations, in terms of competing for championships. They had just won a championship 2 years prior, some of these guys, and were part of that team. And so we had that built-in, leadership. And then it was just about putting the pieces together. And we brought 2 of our own guys, from UMBC there. And so there was a natural, connection. And it was really about merging 2 different worlds. VCU was similar. We brought Max and Sean, from Utah State over to VCU. And then, it was about, again, merging 2 worlds. This one's been a lot different. We have a totally new collection of guys. Certainly, we have a few, that were here last year, but didn't really participate in terms of gameplay. And so, from that perspective, it's been more of a challenge. But what we used the summer for this year was really just to not put them in a box. Really, we wanted to allow them to play free of fear of failure. Show us what you can do in a lot of ways, and not really dictate, exactly what we want you to do each and every day. Because I think if you begin to put them in roles right away initially, and you come in with these preconceived notions of how you think they should play, you might miss something. And so we really focused on, hey, let's be in the gym together. Let's really focus on connecting with one another, and really connect each one of you to this place. And I think the guys did a really good job, overall with that, this particular summer. So to answer your question, not a ton of similarities, between the other spots.
Ryan, along those lines, you mentioned this summer when we spoke to you that you really hadn't done much work defensively.
Yeah.
Has that changed?
Yeah, no question. I mean, day one, when we got here in the fall, we began to install and implement, the defensive game plan overall. And so we do it through stations, we do it through film work, we do it through obviously 5-on-5, play as well. And so the guys have done a great job. We're working out 4 times a week, and some days are lighter than others, and more install, less pounding, less 5-on-5 play than others. But I think the guys have done a good job so far.
How has your staff continuity helped in this transition with so many new players? How has the staff's previous knowledge of each other and you helped in the transition?
Yeah, that's a great question. I mean, obviously we've added, Griff Aldridge as associate head coach, and then Michael Crowder, and then we've got, Ethan's new to me. Mike Curtis is obviously new to our staff, in terms of here at Virginia, but they have the deep institutional, knowledge of the place. But yes, it's huge. If you're having to coach, call it 13 new players, right, that are all new to this place, basically, and you're having to coach your coaches, all right, that's a daunting task. And so for me personally, I'm so thankful for the staff that we have, here at UVA and the folks that have been together. And when you look at Griff's situation, obviously he and I work together and have known each other, since we were 18 years old. And so from that perspective, we're in a good place. And the thing that I take a lot of joy from is watching them work together. Because one thing that you really want is we have to, as a staff, be the best example for the players. And when they see us work together in a really positive way and cheer for one another and allow one another space to do things, I really think it sets the tone for the guys and how they need to operate. And so that's one of the things that I've just been really lucky as a head coach to have really good people with me.
Last we talked, you hadn't seen much in person from Tess or Johan. What have you learned about them? What are their strengths, their challenges, I guess, as they get ready for this college basketball season?
Yeah, I think first and foremost for Johan, I think he would tell you when he first got here, his physical fitness was being challenged, right? He wasn't in the shape that he needed to be in order to perform at his highest level. Well, when he came back in the fall, he's ready, now, and his play is showing it. Like he's really taken a massive, jump, from the summer. Tess was really just starting, right? And probably a similar situation in terms of the game shape and all of that. But his first practice literally was, the first practice of the fall. And so he didn't have the summer, to get acclimated with the guys. But, Johan is, we call him Yo. Yo is, he's 7 feet. He can block shots. He can make threes. He can put the ball on the deck. He can defend his position. He's proven now he can rebound and is tough enough and competitive enough to go after tough, balls. Tess he's kind of a bully, in a lot of ways. Like I love the way that he plays. Like he plays with passion and emotion. He's a tough guy. And it's going to be an interesting, transition, for him. And we're pushing him to be more assertive and not selfish, but he is a good player, and we need him to be that for us. He's used to, with his last team, he was more of the role guy, and everybody to a certain extent has to play a specific role, but we certainly need him to and expect him to step forward, here at Virginia.
Jerry, and then
Ryan, you've gone into new conferences before.
Mm-hmm.
What's the challenge this time around? Not just learning the ACC, but with all the comings and goings on everybody's roster, what's the challenge in trying to accomplish that?
Yeah, it's a big challenge. It certainly is. I think the ACC overall, this recruiting season did very well. If you look at the numbers out there, in terms of, classes that were put together across our conference, I think the ACC stepped up. They got the message, right, in terms of we've all got to be a little bit better and more competitive. One of the challenges is the number of teams, right? And so you're not playing everybody twice. We only play 2 teams twice. And so you're going to have a deep knowledge of them and have, on the court experience against them for that second game. But All the others, it's almost as if you're playing non-conference games, you know, because you play them one time, you get one shot at them, regardless of whether it's on your court or somewhere else. And so the staff really has to be dialed in terms of the preparation and the scouting and how we deliver that, you know, to the team to help them get ready to put their best foot forward, you know, for that particular game. And so you use the non-conference, to help prepare you for what you know is going to be a really tough conference play.
Luke, and then Sandra, and then David.
Hey, Ryan, where is player leadership arising from right now within your group?
Yeah, I think certainly Dallin Hall is somebody that, you know, the players look up to. He's very consistent in the way that he works and approaches the game. There's just a trust there, you know, that exists. I think another guy that's very vocal is Devin Tillis. You know, Devin certainly is a guy, you know, who over the course of the summer, he has that natural personality. You guys will begin to see these personalities come out, as we move forward. But, you know, he's certainly approachable and a guy that's been through it in a lot of ways at UC Irvine. You know, I think they won 30 games last year, and obviously Devin's an excellent player, and so he understands, you know, how a winning program, winning players operate, you know, on a daily basis and kind of what that looks like. And so we're going to need him, you know, to step forward for sure. Malik obviously has been very successful and is a very vocal, you know, player in practices and is committed to doing his best. And so he's another guy that certainly we will lean on. And then Tess, I would add to that mix, you know, as well. He's played a lot of high-level basketball, you know, in his career, and is certainly someone, you know, that we're going to count on from a leadership perspective. But one of the things that we learned from, you know, the book that we read this summer in our book club called Legacy is everybody has to be a leader. There's different levels to it, but we want to, you know, leaders create leaders. And certainly that's something that we want to try to foster, each and every day that we come in, because we all have a role to play, whether it's I'm playing 30 minutes or I don't get in the game. I still matter if I'm not getting in the game, and I can help this team, you know, with whatever that might be.
There's been a lot of change going on around all of college athletics. Carla Williams, with her podcast, said that it's a great opportunity to get to convey some of those changes in a casual setting to the fans. What have you hoped to accomplish with Proving Grounds, and how has it been working on that so far?
Yeah, I think it's huge. We're really appreciative, of Carla and the administration allowing us to do this. And I felt it's not really in my nature to go behind the scenes, to be quite frank. But given the way that our climate is now, we are entering a new era, a new situation here for me personally at Virginia and for our program. And, you know, I can understand from a fan's perspective being frustrated with the change, right? You have players here for one season and then they're gone, or they transfer, or they're a grad transfer, whatever it is. And so we have to accelerate the process of connecting our players to our fans in this place. Number one, they have to appreciate where they're at, and I think we've pounded that, into their heads, like what a great place Virginia is and how lucky we all are, to be here. And with that comes a great deal of responsibility on our parts to do our best, for everybody that's come before us, the former players, former coaches, former administrators, just everybody that has cared, donors that have cared about this program. And Proving Grounds is a way for us to get the personalities out there, to get our fans excited about Devin Tillis, get our guys excited about, Elijah Gertrude, get our guys excited about, Martin Carrere and the different people that, will make up this year's Virginia basketball team. And not just the players. You're gonna get access to the coaches, and the folks that are leading this program and mentoring these young people. And so I think, from that perspective, I think it's something that, I would encourage all Virginia fans that are out there to watch. And, I've spoken to some groups recently, and I've asked this question, raise your hand if you've seen it. And, there have been some people in the crowd certainly that have, but I was amazed at how many hadn't. And so we want to get the message out there, that this is an excellent thing, and it's a chance to get to know the team.
Ryan, you mentioned that the ACC or around the league, that the message had been received, need to recruit better. One of the steps that the league took was to curb the league schedule from 20 to 18 games. Are you pleased with where you landed with the 2 extra non-conference games? I presume it's Dayton and Charlotte and Ohio State and Nashville. And how did they come about?
Yeah, certainly we are excited about it. I think that was the purpose, of cutting it back to 18, was to give our conference members a chance to go out and play a neutral game or a big game that could have important implications come March. And sharing the court with Ohio State, and Dayton obviously is going to be important for us, and we felt it was a good matchup. The first one, Ohio State, materialized, pretty quickly, and it was done. Obviously, Kelsey, handles our schedule and does that for us. And I was able to speak with Coach Diebler, and we were able to kind of work through it. And a promoter was involved in making it happen. And it was a similar situation, with the Dayton game. That one materialized really late. We were scheduled to play someone else, and that one fell through. And then, it was open again. And so then I had to make a decision pretty late of whether, I wanted to go through with it or not. And so we decided to do it. Obviously, Coach Grant and I are friends and good competitors, and have a lot of respect for one another. So, we both decided it was the right thing.
Michael and Andrew. How much have you worked on pressing so far? And
Right away. We call it hammer up. Right away. First practice. Yeah. So, Coach Henry and Coach Theus, kind of have begun to implement that, along with the other coaches. Obviously, everyone's involved in this, but Darius is one of the best leaders, that VCU's had, in its history of the basketball program, and certainly was one of the best at stealing the ball, and putting pressure on the other team's point guard. And so having him, back there coaching our guards on that, and just everybody in general, because it's not just the guards, is really, really important. That's a big part of what we do. It's got to be, what our identity is, and we're working through it now to see if it's even feasible for us. And the guys are doing a nice job with it so far, so I've been impressed.
Michael, and then Jackie and Preston.
Obviously, you've made a lot about you tag along with your dad when you were here. What's it like now to kind of replicate that again with your son, who is now on the roster? What has that experience been like, at UVA, where you kind of did that a long time ago? Different style?
It's been really cool. For me, actually, just last night, Lucy and I were on the phone with him, and Lucy was, now I know you're seeing your dad all the time, but it's okay to come by and see me too. That it's probably harder on her, but Lucy and I were talking about it. We've been blessed because we had Connor with us at Utah State and VCU, and now Owen, here as well. And so, he's been afforded this tremendous opportunity, to be a part of this, and we want to make sure that, we do our best for him, and he takes advantage of all that Virginia has to offer. And he's been in the dorm, he's been on grounds, and he's a normal student. But he's getting challenged, out here on the court, and just in terms of what it means to be and what it takes to be a Division I athlete. Forget basketball; it doesn't matter what sport it is. Like, it's a lot of time that these young people are sacrificing, and so it's a good lesson for him in terms of managing time and still taking care of business.
This kind of goes in the lines with the Proving Grounds. Having an open exhibition at home at JPJ, is that way to connect fans? What is your expectation for that?
Yeah, I mean, it's to get better, and to be challenged. Certainly, we know we're going to be challenged, and we hope to challenge them, as well. Same thing with the Vanderbilt game. We are in a new era. I mean, I'm a believer. I'm for adding more games, more like the NBA in terms of preseason games, to give our guys a chance. I think the preseason is too long, especially because of the age of a lot of these kids now. They're a little bit older, and so they're a little bit more experienced. So they're more ready. You can advance it a little bit more. And so I would advocate for more games. And I think it's going to be good for the fans. I'm confident it'll be well attended, and it certainly gives us a chance to play different lineups and practice things and do it against really high quality competition.
You've talked about Chance a lot. How has he adapted in these kind of first couple months over the summer and now into the fall, just the college game, and what have you seen from him?
Yeah, Chance is amazing. I love his game. I love his personality. He's just fit right in, with the guys. He's a very confident player. If you need him to score, he can get it done. If you need him to facilitate, he can do that. He's a good defender and physical, on defense. And it's amazing how many rebounds he gets. Like, he just chases balls down. And he's going to be a really good player, and have a great career, here at UVA. I'm pretty confident in that. But he's an even better person, and so he's going to be a really good representative of our basketball program and UVA as a whole.
Hey, Coach, Jackson from Caps Corner over
There we
here.
go.
Nice to meet you.
You too.
Yeah, this is a bit of a random one, but I saw some people online kind of asking about, as the new head coach, if you were thinking about changing up the uniforms at all this season. I don't know if you've
Kelsey, you want to answer? Yeah. So we're Nike Elite team, right? So we'll always have, the two, I don't know about always, but we'll have, two that are created by Nike. And so we don't really have, a choice in the way that one's designed. That's a Nike thing. And so we did add, I am definitely a gear guy. We have added, 3 new uniforms in addition to the 2 that, we will always have. And so can't tell you what they look like, can't give you all that information just yet, but I'm sure there'll be some sort of a, release at some point. They aren't here yet, number one, so we can't release it anyway. But anything else you want to add to that, Kelsey?
You do a great job designing.
Okay, good stuff.
I lied. Time for 2 more.
Okay.
And then great.
Ryan, Tess and Johan are among about 24 players who are coming directly from Europe to the ACC this season.
24?
Yes.
Wow.
Across, a dozen or so programs.
Yeah, sure.
And I'm just wondering whether, A, you think that is a trend that will be sustained, and to what do you attribute it?
Yeah, I mean, I think certainly the options to play high-level basketball, in the ACC, compete for championships in the ACC or at this level, plus at the national level, national championship is intriguing to these foreign players. When you add in the ability to be compensated, Obviously, that's a factor, in all of this, and certainly it opens doors for them. One of the next steps for some of these young players is to compete against American players, that are potential NBA players, and so. If you stay over there the entire time, maybe you don't get that access. And so guys that have pro potential or NBA potential, for them to be able to test themselves here makes sense.
Yeah, Sam Lewis had a big jump in production between his freshman year and sophomore year at Toledo. What did you guys see in the recruiting process, and do you think his scoring will translate to this level?
Yeah, Sam's a very good player. He has physical size for a wing. He has athleticism. He could shoot the ball really well. He can defend. He's a smart player. And so, I think, for us, it was a no-brainer when we began to talk to him about the opportunities here at UVA. And he's got 2 years, to do it, which we loved. We want to find more of those guys that have multiple years that we can recruit, that have the talent that he does. And so, I think he's done really well so far. He loves the place and has fit in really well with the team and the community here. And so, I'm excited to see kind of how he progresses over the course of the season.
Coach,
Yeah, I'll do one more. I'll do one
I'm
more.
going to go back right where I
Dad
started.
would do 8 more, but I'll do one more.
He can come
Yeah.
in and take 30 minutes too. I asked you at the beginning about, what you're learning about the team, how you put it together. You said you want to give them space to be themselves. Any surprises from what you saw on film, what you thought you recruited, to anybody you got out here and you said, wow, that's kind of a different skill set?
Yeah, Ugo certainly is the one that I would say was a big surprise. He's a really good example. He's never attempted a three, in his career in a game, and I would guess he probably hasn't in practice either. Maybe in high school or something, but I'm sure in college he hasn't, unless the shot clock was winding down and he had to throw it up. And so, he's shown the ability to knock it down, here this summer and then so far this fall. And so now, is he going to be a high volume 3-point shooter? No, but, for him, it does provide some versatility, for our program when your fives can knock down threes. It makes you just a little bit more versatile overall. And so, I think that was probably the one example I would give. There are others, but certainly, he would fit that one.
Thanks a lot, Coach.
Yeah, thank you, guys.